Well, joining us now is one passenger who had a lucky escape after leaving the doomed flight when it stopped over at Heathrow. Yasmin Siddiqui travelled over from Germany with the passengers whose journey came to a tragic end at Lockerbie in Scotland. Among those boarding the plane, she noticed a man of Middle Eastern appearance who appeared apparently agitated and nervous of the police. First of all, thank you for coming in, Yasmin. We'll come to that gentleman in just a moment. But it's almost impossible to imagine your feelings. You travelled with some of these poor passengers who are now tragically dead. What was your first impression when you heard the news of the crash? Your first feeling?
I burst into tears. I was in shock. I couldn't believe that I was on the flight with those people. I originally thought of the man, but I thought of the people I had met, the people I had spoken to on the flight.
What must have come through your mind were the everyday pictures of a flight in progress, a happy flight, a flight going to presumably to enjoy Christmas in New York?
There was a lot of children on the flight, and children were running around and doing the normal things they do, getting on everyone's nerves, screaming, and the mothers trying to quieten them down. And all I remember those children running around in the departure lounge.
It's extraordinary. We were talking only 20 minutes ago about people who are close to this experience, feeling a sense of guilt. Do you have that feeling?
It's strange. I don't know what feeling I have right now. I don't think it's set in. At one point I think, thank God I wasn't on the rest of the flight. Thank God I got off at Heathrow. And then another side of me thinks about the people. I feel guilty. I feel sad. It's a complete mixture of feelings at the moment.
When people come so perilously close to a tragedy, the worst thing they have to cope with, Yasmin, as I'm sure you're now aware, is the recurring images of what happens on the flight. Do you have a recurring image that, even within this close time of to the tragedy, recurring image that keeps coming back to you?
I keep thinking about the three people. I spoke to three people on the flight who were continuing the flight. One was a young woman. She had another child, but she had a newborn baby in her arms. And she was going back to the States to show her parents and her friends her new baby. And I just cannot get that woman out of my mind. It's
almost too hard to think about. Let's move on to another subject. Now, Yasmin, it has been mentioned that you saw a man of, well, describe him for us, a man who certainly worried you.
Well, it was strange because I was being held up at passport control. All the other passport control people, they were going through. And this man was very upset. It was taking the policeman a long time to check his passport. He was agitated, he was nervous. I kept getting the feeling he's got a fake passport and he's scared he's going to be caught. That's the first impression I got from the man. He wanted to get out of there as quickly as possible. You could see the fright on his face. He was like, now, do I make a run for it or not? And he was in a state.
How old was he?
He was roughly my age. He was young, and he just seems so nervous for someone like that.
I think you said, didn't you, that he looked at the floor, he looked at people,
everywhere.
but he would not look at a policeman.
He looked at me, he looked at the floor, he was looking at the other people, he was turning from side to side, didn't know where to look. He didn't look at the policeman. Even as he walked away, he was looking back at me and looking to see if anyone was coming up behind him, putting the passport back. He went straight to the departure lounge.
And physically he was of Middle Eastern appearance?
I couldn't tell you what country. I really couldn't speculate.
But I think you hinted earlier, talking to our researchers, that he certainly wasn't English or American.
No, Middle East. My father's from Pakistan. He wasn't from Pakistan. He was more... I have been to Iran and Iraq. I visited both countries, and he seemed...
Now, obviously, Yasmin, we're not here saying what happened or anything. We're just trying to gather all sort of stray bits of information. Can I ask you this question? When you heard that there had been this appalling tragedy, I know because you told me just before we started the interview that you burst into tears, but can I ask you, did you think of that man?
Yes, I did. Finally, I sat there and I thought, I was right. That's the first thing. I was right. I knew I was right. I knew there was something wrong with him.
If you're right, it's an appalling thought. You've been up for 24 hours without sleep. Thanks for joining us, and try and relax as much as you can for the moment. Yasmin Siddiqui, thanks for joining us.
Well, let's just recap on some of the details that we know at the moment. The jumbo jet crash is the worst crash in British airline history. It's the 9th worst in the world so far. The previous biggest UK air disaster was in 1972 when a BEA Trident crashed on takeoff at Heathrow, killing all 118 people on board. Well, the Pan Am 103 flight, as we heard from Yasmin there, originated in Frankfurt, and there was a change of planes onto the 747 at Heathrow. Well, we're able to go over live now to Lockerbie, where we will be in just a moment, to speak to our reporter Chris Mann, who has been, along with our team of reporters, there all night. Now, at no stage did the air traffic controllers in London or in Scotland receive a Mayday call. That much we do know. The flight had just passed over to Scottish Air Traffic Control when they had lost contact. The last contact, as we know, was made at 7:15 p.m. when it was cruising at an altitude of 31,000 feet. Some reports say that debris was scattered over a massive area. One report says that the door of the plane was found 18 miles from Lockerbie itself. Now, as we know, it's understood that there were a number of US servicemen on board. Yasmin Siddiqui was just telling us about that. There were also a number of US students on board the flight as well.
Yes, thanks, Kathy. Very briefly, the papers are depicting it as well. Just caught their first editions. The Guardian, 258 plunge in fireball jet. Daily Mail, fireball hell as jumbo jet hits town. The Sun newspaper, 258 dead. Sadly, that figure is 273. Daily Mail, fireball. And the Times, over 250 dead in jumbo jet crash. The papers having to react very quickly, just indeed as we are.